I know Larry Bird, he's this much below Larry Bird, or maybe that much. But Larry Bird would put fear in me and everyone else just like Luka does.
Larry Bird, to me, it was so much fun playing against him because he talked so much shit.
Well, what he hit you? What's something simple he hit you with?
He hit you with you jump high, but you don't jump that high. You can't get this. He hit you with, listen, guys, don't worry about the play. I'm gonna go right over here, catch it, and shoot it in y'all face, and ain't a damn thing y'all can do about it.
And he did it.
And he did it. You know.
Larry looks around and goes, "What's up, Sal?" I said, "Nah." He goes, "You on me?" I said, "Yeah, I got size on you right now. I've been watching every movie." He goes, "Y'all not double teaming?" And he's looking around. I go, "Nah, it's just me, fella." He goes, "Mouse in the house, mouse in the house," and they change the play, and he catches the ball, he does this, and he shoots it. He says, "Sal, you better ask for a double team, bro."
Larry, so tough.
He was never going to say never. He was very competitive. He was going to, like I said, always do something on the offensive end.
I spent the last couple of days with Magic Johnson shooting the Capital One commercials. And every time I see him, I tell him thank you. Because Magic Johnson and Larry Bird are the two most important figures in NBA history.
What if I told you the biggest NBA stars were secretly scared of Larry Bird? Not Kobe, not Jordan, not Magic. Bird, the slow, skinny white boy from Indiana. In their own words, the legends confess why stepping on the court with him felt like stepping into a nightmare. The mind games, the clutch gene, the killer instinct that broke even the strongest players. This might be the most eye-opening Larry Bird story you'll ever hear. Stick with me.
The gentleman you just talked about, Larry Bird.
Oh shit, that's the man. Shit, he's like your Magic, your Kareem. You know, that once in a lifetime player, franchise changing player. That.
So everybody waiting on Larry to come in. Boom! Bust the door open. Walk around. You might do a little something. Nah, you ain't got. Nah, you shot yourself out in warm up. Talking about Leon Wood. Might have fun. Yeah. Okay. Who coming in second? Let's take the picture. And then take off his sweat jacket. And Birdie got.
But Kentucky head coach was coaching the team, so he started 3 guys from Kentucky. So we said, okay. But when we got in the game, we turned it out. But I saw this dude eat Jack Givens up. He was player of the year that year.
Kentucky, right?
Yeah, from Kentucky. And Larry Bird was just slicing and dicing him. And I said, oh, I called home.
You look at Larry Bird and you wonder how it was even possible. A slow-footed, unathletic-looking kid from a tiny town in Indiana steps onto the same court as the most explosive, physically gifted athletes in the world.
And Bird coming down the hallway, me and Chris Webber, and Larry Bird, you don't realize how big Larry Bird is until you stand up close to Larry Bird.
Exactly.
Larry Bird, legit 6'10".
Real talk. When I first stood up against him when he was coaching the pace, I was like, damn.
So he walked by us and he says, "Y'all those college guys?" And we was like, yeah, we the college guys. And he looked at us and he said, "Get some rest, it's gonna be a long week," and walked off.
That's hot. One of the coldest shit talkers in the history of the NBA was a white boy by the name of Larry Bird. I've heard Larry would tell you straight up, "Hey, it's 5 seconds on the clock. I'm gonna be in that left corner. DJ is gonna pass the ball to me. They're gonna get it to me. I'm gonna bust. We gonna win." Is that the truth?
Yeah, I didn't get to play with Larry Bird, but I heard all the dope stories, and his reputation, what you hear is what it was.
And those same superstars admit they felt real fear facing him. This was not the usual intimidation that comes from size, raw power, or blinding speed. It ran much deeper than that. This was the quiet, soul-crushing realization that the unassuming guy who moved like a weekend warrior was about to systematically dismantle you, expose every weakness in your game, and do it in front of 20,000 fans and a national television audience. And there was almost nothing you could do to stop it.
I rubbed my hands looking at him like, I'm about to get your ass, man.
What year was this for you?
This was my first year.
Oh, okay.
And that day, that morning they came out with a USA Today article, and they said that Larry didn't have it no more. So he came out that night to make a statement, and I was just the prime candidate to be. Yeah. Before the game, he told me, he was like, he just shook his head at me. He said, "Man, it's gonna be a night for you."
Did you guard Bird?
Yeah.
Okay.
Successfully? No. Did I guard him? Yes, but no. This is.
But if he liked you, he probably didn't talk trash to you.
Oh, he talked it all the time. He was constantly talking. Like it was a trip that even I looked at the video.
Would tell you straight up, hey, it's 5 seconds on the clock. I'm going to be in that left corner. DJ is going to pass the ball to me. They're going to get it to me. I'm going to bust. We going to win. Is that the truth?
Yeah, I didn't get to play with Larry Bird, but I heard all the dope stories, and his reputation, what you hear is what it was. You know, Larry Bird, them two came from, and then
The legends who faced him still talk about it with a mix of awe and lingering trauma, as if they had survived a war where the only weapons were a deadpan voice and a jumper that never missed. Bird did not just play basketball. He performed psychological experiments on grown men who were paid millions to be confident.
That's trash talker you've heard up close.
So I always tell the Larry Bird story. And I didn't coach when Larry Bird was in the league, but I got to witness his shit talking up close. So I went to my first pre-draft camp as a kid, and I was walking with our GM, Billy Knight. And we're walking, and Larry's walking, and Billy Knight go, "What's up, Larry?" And Larry Bird go, "What's up, Billy Knight? Last time I saw you, you was screaming for help."
Like a ballerina, right? And if you go back and you watch the play, that dude is on his toes. The baseline is right up under his toes. And in my mind, he must have stood there for about 5 seconds because everything was going in slow motion in my mind, right? And it's like, I'm like, and then it's a strange moment. I'm like, damn, how you doing that?
He would stroll up on defense, look a future Hall of Famer dead in the eye, and casually announce exactly how he planned to embarrass them in the next few seconds. Then he would do it, as calmly as if he were delivering a weather report. Imagine guarding a man who tells you he is going to dribble left, pull up from 23 feet, and drain it while calling it his little Christmas present to you. Most players would laugh that off as trash talk until the ball swishes through the net and Bird is already jogging back on defense without even a smirk, because to him,
which one of you gonna come in second place?
So first words through the door.
Which one of you gonna come in second place? Dan?
It was over.
I'm sitting around. Nobody said nothing. It was one of the best scenes I've ever, I'm looking around. I'm not in the contest, so I can't say anything. Nobody said a word. And I said, man, I wish we had casinos. We could bet on the Larry Bird gonna win this three-point shooting contest.
What made it worse was how ordinary he looked doing it. The man moved like he was conserving energy for a long winter on the farm, yet he saw the court in slow motion while everyone else was still catching up. Opponents would set up what they thought was a perfect trap, only for Bird to have already predicted it 3 passes earlier. He turned basketball into a chess match where he had already memorized the board and brought extra queens just in case. The athletic freaks who could leap out of the gym and run like the wind discovered that none of that mattered when the guy with the Midwest dad bod was dissecting their souls one perfectly placed pass or shot at a time. They hated it, and they respected it, and mostly they feared it, because there was no athletic answer for pure basketball evil. His work ethic only made the whole situation more insulting. While other superstars were still deciding what jewelry to wear to the arena, Bird had already been there for hours, launching jumpers with that obsessive glare until the ball felt like it was part of his hand. Younger players who showed up early just to get some extra shots would walk in and see him already drenched in sweat, refusing to leave the court until every angle felt perfect. It was the kind of dedication that made millionaires feel lazy, and it showed every single night.
And all those players, other than Larry, when they passed the ball, they had a tendency to kind of like stand and watch. And so I kind of knew where they were, and you can kind of get over there on the weak side and help out a little bit. With Larry, when he passed the ball, he wasn't standing. He was going to go either set a back pick for somebody. He was going to go get offensive rebound. He was going to make something happen on that offensive end. So you always had to pay attention to him when he had the ball and even when he didn't have the ball. And he was just always that way. And
guys that lost. And then you got that arrogant, cocky Larry Bird trash talking all the time.
And was he really arrogant? Was he really, really arrogant?
Well, yeah, he could back it up. So when you're arrogant and you can back it up, you're not arrogant, you're just good. And Larry was good.
Bird did not need hype videos or signature shoes to motivate himself. The fear of not being the best was apparently enough, and that internal motor ran hotter than any highlight reel could capture. Then there were the nights when someone made the mistake of disrespecting him or his team. That was when the switch flipped, and Larry turned into something closer to a silent movie villain with a jump shot. He would ignore coaching advice that might have been perfectly reasonable, decide the game needed a personal touch, and proceed to Thanksgiving turkey. Teammates and opponents alike watched it happen and realized they were witnessing something that transcended normal competitive fire. This was a man who treated basketball like a personal code of honor, and once you violated that code, may God help your defensive assignments. The psychological warfare never let up either. Bird had this almost ventriloquist way of delivering his lines, calm and low, so the officials barely caught it while the defender felt every syllable like a needle.
I like the way he led us as a team. He wasn't in your face, that talking trash to you. He led by example. No matter how poorly you playing, Coop, he never got on you. Only thing he would say to you, try to pick it up if you can. You had one of them nights, but things just not going your way. He always spoke, with encouragement. He never tried to put players down. And
let's not forget how incredible Bird and the Celtics were in their prime. I said they were almost impossible to go in there and beat. And they said, why? I said, because you could not make a mistake with them. If you turn your head or you don't rotate right on time or whatever it was, those guys made you play, and it was him. He was he was a savant on the court.
Early 80s, late 80s, early 90s, those were some different years in the league. Guys were very physical, fighting, and really just another level of physicality was into the game. When late 90s, I think they had thinned it out a little bit. It was still physical, but it wasn't as physical as the 80s. But Larry Bird was one of them ones that talked a lot, but he can definitely back it up. Back it up with play, back it up with mindset. It was just different.
Let me ask you. He did not discriminate. Superstars, role players, rookies, veterans, it did not matter. If you were wearing the wrong colored jersey, you were getting the treatment. He would tell you the exact spot he was going to shoot from, describe the move he planned to use, and then execute it with such precision that you started questioning your own existence. Defenders would walk back to the huddle afterward, looking like they had seen a ghost wearing Chuck Taylors. The rest of the league eventually learned to brace themselves whenever Bird started talking during a game, because that quiet Indiana drawl usually preceded some fresh nightmare. What is hilarious in retrospect is how much modern players complain about physicality or tough matchups. The fear was not about size or speed, it was about knowing the man opposite you had already won the game inside his head before tip-off, and was just there to collect the evidence. Bird made super athletes feel ordinary, and he did it without ever appearing to break a sweat beyond what was necessary.
The 30 for 30 we was talking about, the rivalry between the Lakers and Celtics. Right. And I remember talking about, he talked a whole lot of shit, but I guess it ain't shit talking if you backing it up.
Yeah, I'm just
talking. He was backing it up.
Right, right.
And that was one of the greatest things I loved about him, and the fact that the story goes that when he played against Denver, they had a guy named John Hanslick. You remember John Hanslick?
No, I don't
6'7", Notre Dame guy, white guy, really good defender, right?
Okay.
They put him on Larry, and Larry was wearing his ass out.
Absolutely.
And Larry.
Now we go to Boston. At that time, I was playing with Cedric. Maxwell was on the Clippers. No, he walked on the court like, no, all threes tonight. I'm shooting all three. I said, Maxwell gonna lock you up. So we started the game. He's at the three. He took a shot and somebody hit him and he fell down. I think I was on the other side of the court. So he's on the ground like this, looking for me.
Bird, here's Bird and Bird this and Bird. Oh, did you see the pass that Bird made? I can't see it, but I'm just trying to imagine it. And when the time I got to the end, I said, damn, that brother can play.
His intensity carried over into every little moment on the floor. While others might coast through parts of the season, Bird approached every possession like it was Game 7 of the finals. That relentless focus created an aura that followed him around the league. Players on other teams would watch film of him and feel their confidence dip before they even stepped on the court. It was not just talent. It was the combination of talent with a work ethic that bordered on deranged and a competitive streak that made him enjoy the suffering of his opponents, maybe a little too much. The legends who faced him describe it as playing against someone who operated on a different plane, where the normal rules of fatigue and doubt simply did not apply. Even when he was not dropping points in bunches, Bird found ways to dominate the mental side of things. A well-timed comment here, a perfectly placed pass there, and suddenly an entire defense was second-guessing decisions they had made 1,000 times before. He turned routine basketball plays into personal vendettas. Opponents would try to match his intensity, only to realize they were bringing a water pistol to a tactical nuke fight. The man from French Lick did not need to scream or flex. His game did the screaming for him, and it spoke in complete sentences with perfect grammar and zero mercy.
He would say, next time, bank shot left side. I'm gonna pump fake you. Your dumb ass gonna go for it.
He would tell you that, and it happened.
And I said, first of all, I'm gonna be so close to you. If you shoot the ball next year, I'm gonna try to rip your arm off your socket. And what you think he did, man? A quick pump fake, dog, and he go for that shit here.
Got you.
Man, come on, man.
Almost poetic how this unassuming guy became the nightmare fuel for an entire generation of basketball royalty. They had the physiques, the contracts, the endorsements, and yet they all shared stories about the one player who made them feel genuinely exposed. Bird stripped away the glamour and left them with the uncomfortable truth that basketball, at its highest level, is as much about mind and will as it is about body. He proved that you could look like the last guy picked in a church league and still terrorize the best athletes on the planet through sheer force of preparation and personality. They remember the nights when everything they tried failed against a guy who seemed to know their next move before they did. They remember the quiet confidence that made trash talk feel like a promise instead of a threat. And they remember how that slow white kid from Indiana raised the standards so high that even decades later, players still measure themselves against what he did on those nights when he decided the league needed a reminder of who was really in control.
Seen this, and this one I was like, this is a different breed. Magic Johnson fed Larry Bird the ball probably about 8 times in a row down court. Larry Bird got the ball on Rodney Rogers, and every time he was about to make a move, he told him what he was going to do. One dribble, pull up, going left, off glass. One dribble, going right, spin, shot.
I'm walking to the huddle, and as I come back out of the huddle, right, we try to take the ball out of bounds or whatever. Larry walks by and he goes, wow. Winks at me, right? I'm like, No, but they were great teachers.
In the end, the fear made sense. Larry Bird did not just beat you, he made you question why you ever thought you could stop him in the first place. He turned arenas into classrooms where the lesson was humility, delivered with a jump shot and a deadpan one-liner. The greatest players of his era walked away knowing they had faced someone truly different, someone who blended country calm with killer instinct in a way that felt almost unfair. That is why the stories endure, and why, even now, mentioning his name brings a certain look to the faces of men who were never supposed to be scared of anyone. Larry Bird did not just play the game. Larry Bird's dominance did not come from physical gifts that turned heads during warm-ups. It stemmed from an almost supernatural understanding of the geometry of the game and the psychology of the men trying to guard him. He processed information faster than most players could react, turning split-second decisions into foregone conclusions.
When he was like second year in the league and they were in the playoffs against the Celtics. Down one, Larry Bird catches the ball in the deep corner and he steps back for a three. And before he takes the three, he's like, oh wow, he's going for the win. He's not going for the tie. And so Brad Daugherty runs out and he head fakes him. And as he head fakes him, now it's 3-2, he hits him on the butt with the ball. And then he shoots it at the buzzer.
There's someone that's very important to both of us. Larry Joe Bird. When I was a young child, I would pray to a Larry Joe Bird poster before I would go to games.
Can you say that again?
I would pray to a Larry It was the legend poster. You know the poster legend?
Of course.
And he's got the basketball, and he's just standing there, not an action shot. I would pray to it. I would say,
Opponents would watch film sessions for hours trying to find a weakness, only to discover that Bird had already adjusted his approach by the time they stepped onto the floor. His anticipation bordered on precognition, allowing him to intercept passing lanes that barely existed or deliver no-look passes that left teammates wide open before defenses could rotate. What elevated this to another level was his refusal to accept conventional basketball wisdom. While coaches drew up intricate plays designed to exploit mismatches, Bird frequently operated on his own wavelength, reading the defense in real time and choosing paths that seemed reckless until the ball went through the net. The league gradually learned that double-teaming him often created worse problems elsewhere because his vision turned every trap into an assist opportunity. His preparation bordered on obsession in ways that quietly reshaped how future generations approached the game. Long after official practices ended, Bird remained in the gym, refining footwork, release points, and angles that most players considered minor details.
State playing Indiana State. I don't really care about the game, but New Mexico State is right up the streets from El Paso, and I went to UTEP. And we're big rivalries, so I'm hoping that Indiana State will beat New Mexico State. And I'm listening to the radio, and I have no clue of the players on either team. All of a sudden, this name keeps coming. Bird. He goes to the right. Bird. He makes the shot. Bird. I said, God damn, who is Bird?
Because Price is out because he hurt. Right. He says, who's guarding me? I says, Craig Elo. He says, why you got that white boy on me?
He treated every practice repetition as preparation for the highest stakes moments, building a reservoir of muscle memory so deep that fatigue rarely affected his mechanics. Younger players who witnessed this routine carried the lesson forward, understanding that sustained excellence demands more than talent. It requires a willingness to outwork your own limits when no cameras are rolling and no cheers are echoing. Bird also possessed an uncanny ability to weaponize silence. While other stars engaged in loud confrontations or flashy gestures, he let his actions speak with devastating clarity. By the third quarter, players who started the game brimming with confidence often found themselves hesitating on closeouts or overcommitting on drives, precisely because they knew Bird was waiting for any opening to exploit. That hesitation became its own form of defeat. The psychological toll extended beyond individual matchups and affected entire franchises. Teams that built their identities around athleticism and speed discovered that those advantages evaporated against Boston's cerebral style. Bird turned fast breaks into calculated traps and half-court sets into masterclasses in spacing and timing.
Larry shooting a three-pointer, and then I call a timeout, and they didn't count the three-pointer. So he's very upset with that, so I diagrammed the play. He says, heck with the play, Case. Give me the ball and tell all the rest of the guys to get out of the way. I said, shut up, Larry. I'm the coach here. Okay, all right. Then you should take the ball out and give it to Kevin, then you throw it to Larry, and everybody gets...
Of course, as luck would have it, Larry Bird has an unbelievable night. Every shot he took, Irving is guarding him, and as every shot went in that Larry took, he went further back, and he kept on saying to Irving, aren't you going to guard me? Can't you do any better? I mean, he was the greatest soft-spoken trash talker I've ever met.
Even in moments of physical limitation, Bird found ways to maintain control. Injuries that would have sidelined lesser competitors became temporary obstacles he navigated with adjusted footwork and heightened court awareness. He adapted mid-game, shifting from explosive cuts to precise positioning without losing effectiveness. This resilience amplified the respect bordering on fear among peers, who recognized that stopping him required perfect execution for 48 minutes, while he only needed brief windows of opportunity. The margin for error when guarding him was virtually non-existent. Bird's impact also revealed uncomfortable truths about the nature of elite competition. Many physically superior athletes entered games believing their bodies gave them an edge, only to leave humbled by the realization that basketball rewards the mind and will more than raw athletic tools, influencing how scouts evaluated prospects and how veterans mentored rookies about the intangible demands of greatness. His clutch performances carried an air of inevitability that unnerved even the most battle-tested veterans. In crucial possessions, when games hung in the balance, Bird elevated his focus to a level few could match.
My only Larry Bird story. Thank you, Larry Bird. Larry Bird helped me realize that I was a pretty good player. It was one of those special occasions where there was a college game before an NBA game. So after we played, I went back to the Dome and I was watching TV. At halftime, Larry Bird said,
You're playing for him. Did he ever yell at you? Yeah. What would he say? Get back, Jalen, get on D. Oh, he expected you to play defense?
Yeah. Help, Jalen. It seemed like all he heard my name was on defense. On offense, he didn't call my name at all. On defense, I heard my name a lot.
Did he ever give you a compliment?
No, but in all honesty, like the B1000,
okay.
Larry was the guy that helped validate me.
Time after time, he delivered in situations where others faltered, creating memories that opponents replayed with a mixture of admiration and lingering frustration. Those final-minute heroics were not lucky breaks, but the culmination of countless unseen hours of preparation, meeting unbreakable competitive desire. What truly separated Bird was his seamless blend of individual brilliance and team elevation. He made those around him better by demanding excellence through example rather than words. He did not rely on physical dominance or theatrical flair. Instead, he mastered the quiet art of consistent execution under pressure, turning potential weaknesses into sources of strength. Players who faced him emerged with deeper respect for the mental demands of the sport and a clearer understanding of what true greatness requires. Bird's career became a benchmark against which others measured their own dedication and focus.